the environmental movement has become a religion in America and the West, how the people who are in charge of the environmental movement, the elite, have used the religion of green, as we're calling it, to basically influence people, to control people, to make people afraid, and to make them bow down to their agenda. So we kind of go in and expose that. We show what the religion has done. We show how it's a religion, and hopefully at the end give people some answers that the world is not going to end. This isn't an apocalypse that's happening because of climate change, and everyone's going to be okay if you look back to an actual religion like Christianity instead of looking at the climate change movement as a religion.
Okay, so when people hear that, they're probably going to think that you're some kind of mega climate change denier. Is that what is this movie about denying that climate change is real? Is that something you believe, or what's the idea behind it? Is it that, maybe that it's happening, but there's a different way to approach it, or?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I for one believe in climate change for sure. And I even think, a lot of conservatives might disagree with me on this. I go as far to say that I think humans could have had some impact on it, and there's a lot of bad things that humans are doing to the world. But I mean, think about the animals going extinct and a lot of pollution and things. I mean, these things are not great things that we're doing.
No.
But in terms of apocalypse, in terms of the world ending because of climate change, in terms of the lies of saying, the California wildfires are caused by climate change, these are just all blatant lies. These things just aren't happening. The IPCC, the Intergovernmental, the Group for Climate Change, all the scientists in the United Nations, I mean, they put out a study that showed that basically none of these apocalyptic things are going to happen. It's not to say it's impossible, but none of the data actually show that that's going to happen. So these people, these elitists who I'm saying made this into a religion, aren't using facts. They're not using the data from the actual scientists. They're just making things up for their own gain. So in the movie, we don't go against that climate change is happening. We don't necessarily even really talk about that much. We mostly talk about that the apocalypse isn't happening, and that the people who are trying to scare you are evil and are enemies of America and what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, this is what I was going to ask about. What's the motivation of the people you say are trying to use this agenda of, I guess, fear and control? What's their end game?
I think a lot of the end game, I mean, of course, in a lot of ways, it's financial. I mean, someone like Al Gore, who made his first movie, the name is The Inconvenient Truth.
Right.
He made his first movie, and it turned out that so many things that he said in that first movie were incredibly wrong. I mean, that polar bears were going to be extinct by now. The Mount Kilimanjaro was going to have no snow on it. I mean, there's blatantly wrong. They were lies then. They're lies now. But then he's still making more stuff.
Right.
Somehow this guy still has a platform to continue to go on after he was so wrong. It's like these people make tons of money off of these kind of things. They get tons of clout and power for doing this. It's also, again, when I say it's a religion, think about like when someone takes a plastic straw and they recycle it versus throwing it in the trash. What does that do to someone? It makes them feel good. They feel very good about it. They feel righteous about it, that they're doing something that's like helping people or doing something that's actually doing a lot of good for the world. When in reality, it's worse for the world. We have a whole part in there about recycling.
Right. Okay.
But I use that as like the people in the climate elite. They feel good about this. They think that they might actually be doing something good, or at least it's selfish. I think their religion of green is basically a kind of messianic religion, where in Christianity, we believe Jesus is the Messiah, Jesus is the Savior. In this religion, they believe themselves are the savior of the earth.
It's like a self-help religion, really.
Yeah, like they're coming on and saving the world.
Wow.
Which is, wildly selfish and vain for people to do. And of course, that's very attractive for a lot of people. So went off on a tangent on this answer, but I think that's the main end goal. I mean, these people are all hypocrites. They're buying, someone like Bernie Sanders is buying beachfront property in Florida, as he talks about, we're going to be underseas. So there's these people are all hypocrites and doing it for the money and the clout.
You mentioned plastic straws, and if one thing triggers me, it's just paper straws as a concept is just that's the one thing in this world. If I was going to get down the ground and scream about anything, it would be paper straws, because to me, I'm not against, yes, the pollution is harmful to the planet and harmful to animals, but I think the paper straw is the epitome of, just doing something that has no real world consequences that makes you feel better and has replaced it with an inferior product. That's just my 2 cents. I just hate paper
That's a
straws and
hundred percent true. That's 100% true, and I hate using them as well. They fall
yeah,
apart. But our
that's the
part in
thing.
the documentary about recycling is that they take these recyclables and they ship them overseas, and then they burn them in like East Asian
Wow.
countries and things. And it's like way worse for the environment than actually
Mm,
just putting the trash in a landfill here in America. Like, that's
right.
what we should be doing with these recyclables, because they're not, like China isn't buying our plastics anymore. We have to send it to other countries
Mm,
to actually be recycled. So it's
yeah.
a whole lie about that too. But it makes people feel better, exactly like you said. It makes them feel better, even if it's not actually doing
Mm.
any good.
So what's the balance? Whenever we talk about climate change and environmentalism, what's the reasonable response to these challenges facing the earth? If it's not going out and supporting this religion, what should the average common sense person be doing, and what's a reasonable response to this?
Yeah, I think conservatives have some things to work on with their messaging. That's part of the reason why we made this short film, because of that, and we wanted to showcase kind of a new
Mm,
way for people to think about this and new stuff. I mean, I think the most important thing to do is to get people to let go of their fear. If you get them to let go of their fear, then they won't just believe all these things that people are saying. But when they're afraid and they think that all my other friends are afraid too, or their family, like, it's very hard for them to let that go. So convincing people that there really is no apocalypse, I think you can change a lot of minds if you're able to do that and disband their fear.